Yes.
But you had the good
I
one.
still like those.
I like the no. That was
Are
the
they
good one.
worth dying over though?
Nothing's worth dying over, Devon.
There are certain things.
Well,
like
your
if you-
country,
Like what?
God.
No.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about in the candy world.
Oh,
there
yeah.
are candies that I'm like, if you woke up in heaven and they're like, oh man, you choked on a Reese's Pieces. I'm like, oh, okay. You choked
Name me
on
one candy that you. Come on.
a Reese's Pieces.
That's
Can you
good.
choke on a
Quality
Reese's
candy.
Pieces?
You can't, but I mean, if you did, they're like, yo, that was impressive. I can't believe you did that. But yeah, your candy,
What?
a strawberry.
It was a hard, small
a
candy.
hard, small candy.
And she was
like,
6.
Like it's like church grandmother candy. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So I tried to eat it fast because it was too early to be eating candy, and he was still sleeping on the top bunk or the bottom bunk. Who had the top? Who had the bottom? We shared a room, and so I started choking, and he got up and he did.
Wow.
At 9, he knew the Heimlich.
But let me tell you why they came to do this story. He was a compulsive or an obsessive Rescue 911 watcher.
Whoa.
So that's how he learned it.
That's how he learned.
Drops
Okay.
mic, yes.
Drops
So,
Hey.
so he learned this through watching that show. We were not allowed to watch TV on school nights, but he was allowed to watch that show. That's the only thing we were allowed to watch.
So Rescue 911 saved your life.
Yeah.
yes,
You can
my
go,
brother.
okay, let's go.
My
That's
brother
awesome.
saved my
Your
life.
brother
yeah.
saved your life
But
by watching
there's a
Rescue
transitive
911.
property.
I was choking like this was not a joke. It flew out of my mouth across the
Oh
room.
my goodness.
Yeah, it was restricting my airway. Yeah.
Wow.
And this also
Duh,
got
that's what
you
choking means.
in the paper. Oh, yeah. We knew
Oh,
what
yeah.
choking was, but you're a reporter, so I know you're going to
Yeah, you
explain
gotta
it
explain.
out.
Upset. My mom should have that article, and I don't think she has it. But every time I try to look it up, I can see that it's there, but it's in like an archive, and I can't access the archive.
You have $1 billion.
I'm about to say 20 billion.
It started
pay
there.
the archive.
It started there. The
Okay.
press was lined up outside the door, and no.
Did that
they
make? I mean,
weren't.
I'm about to say, did that make you want to be like, oh, now that I'm alive, I want to be these
Yeah.
people?
No, I think what made me want to be these people, like going into journalism, was like watching people cover hurricanes. I thought that they were like heroes.
So you wanted to be like outside in the wind, like
Oh yeah.
Like Twister.
this is
Yeah.
Stefan L. Coley. I'm in the water.
Uh-huh.
I'm got my umbrella. The wind is blowing.
Yeah.
It's windy out here, y'all.
Wait, have you seen that video of the umbrella?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
That's why I brought it up.
have you seen it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yes. But I bet so.
That was a rough
That's
table.
what you. That's what you
Mother
wanted
Nature
to
said
do.
No.
So you go to college. You're like, I'm going to go to journalism. Hopefully, all the Palm Beach press had died down by that time, so people don't know.
Yeah.
People don't know like
They
you're,
weren't
you're a
ready.
hero. They don't know you're like a
was
hero
straight
and a
up
villain.
criminal.
So
Right,
you're like,
exactly.
yo, she's like an angel, but she also might curse on camera. So they don't know that. So what gets you your spark into like actually? I don't think a lot of people know. Like when you go to school for journalism, what does it entail?
It really entails a lot of writing. Because you have to learn several different forms of writing. You have to learn broadcast TV writing. You have to learn print writing, and they're so different. Because you have your broadcast TV writing, you have like certain terms and certain ways that you write things, like if it's for the anchor or if it's for us. And then when you're doing transitioning to print writing, it's almost like a whole nother language. I mean, yeah, you want to keep it simple, but you want to like add more details and things like that. So you learn a lot about writing. You learn about, ethics. You learn about media law, how to not get sued, So it's a lot. There's just a lot of terms you have to learn. It's just the law side, the writing side in itself it's so much. So that's really what like the journalism program is centered on.
So then when you get out, like what school did you graduate from?
University of South Carolina.
So University of South Carolina,
Yes.
then you just start applying. Like, do you have areas that you necessarily like, hey, I want to work in here, or is it just wherever I can find a job anywhere on the face of the earth?
Well, you want to get on. If you want to be on camera, you got to get on camera right when you get out of school. Don't settle for something.
Okay.
Don't settle for something else because you can get on camera right out of college in smaller markets. So you're not going to be working in Houston or Phoenix, but you're going to be working in Georgia.
You can say bum
Columbus.
You can say it.
I don't curse.
That's okay.
Okay.
I
That is
stopped in high
ale.
school.
That's good.
What?
I'm kidding.
It's like we.
I was just protecting her brand.
Oh,
I was
okay,
like,
okay.
Let's be
Okay.
honest. I
Thanks,
was like, she
Avery.
probably curses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if you met her sister, like, golly.
Oh,
You-
and
you're
she
doing-
thinks she doesn't curse. She thinks she's an angel.
Wow. We're throwing a whole lot of shade at somebody that's not even on the show.
No, she's cool. That's my partner.
Just saying. Okay.
She's 100. I like
Okay.
her.
Okay.
So where were we? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, when you get out of school. So when I got out of school, since I was in a journalism program, our last semester of journalism school at University of South Carolina is dedicated to you put on a broadcast every day. So we have our news. It's a student-run news show.
Okay.
It's at 4 p.m. every day. And so you transition, you go through and you transition roles. So for 2 weeks, you'll be anchoring. 2 weeks, you'll be producing. 2 weeks, you'll be a photographer. 2 weeks, you'll be reporting. So it's really super hands-on, and it gives you, a good insight and that experience that you need to kind of step out into the real world. I mean, we're out there covering stories with, the local stations, like the big stories, whatever's happening in Columbia, South Carolina. So through that, you're able to you're able to put together a demo reel, your stand-ups. You guys know what a reel is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? We do know what a reel is. Let's show a reel.
No.
This guy here.
Let's get
I like
let's
him.
get a reel going.
Is that my
Johnson
first?
speaking
Oh, God.
only to us this afternoon. They noted in the report that Johnson would not sit, but they also mentioned his stance, the position that he was in. He was leaned against the wall. They said his shoulders were slightly slouched over, but also a lot of questions, especially considering the fact that Kiera's boyfriend, Jonathan Clark, has been arrested last week, released this week, and then booked right back into jail. After coming back in 1973, a little more than a decade later, he would go on to continue serving our nation, but as senator, impacting even more lives, and the magnitude of his impact certainly showing here today. Taking a big hit as Thursday's monsoon came through. Some homes will need some serious repairs. Let's take you above. Get a look at that. It is well past 10 p.m. You still
Your cameraman was going off on. Did y'all just get the drone?
With the
Y'all
drone.
Yeah, we
like,
just got the
yo,
drone. I was
yeah.
like, we gotta use
They're
the
like,
drone.
We're using the drone
Yeah,
today.
that's awesome.
We're gonna pan up.
Yeah.
We're panning all the way
Yeah.
up. Okay.
Could have just cut to the roof, but no.
He could have.
Yeah.
He was like,
All
yo,
dramatic.
I was
we
like,
got
you
the
need me
drone
in this, and you gotta
here.
elevate.
I need an elevated shot.
So
Like,
that puts
no.
you.
I wish you could see my first demo reel.
So was that from 2016?
That was what I used to get here. So that was from 20.
No,
was-
that one was from 18. Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
last one that you did. But
Yeah.
you have another one that was from 2016. I was looking for one that was like way earlier
Yeah.
than that.
Oh, you can't find.
I couldn't
those.
find it.
Yeah.
I
wish-
couldn't find
Wait,
it.
let me think for a second.
We
Where
gotta
would I
find
have
And
that?
I searched multiple
We gotta find that and
accounts
post it.
and
Oh,
I
see, I think
scoured the internet.
you know how you can just make something
Private?
on
Yeah.
YouTube, so it's no one can really see it
Yeah.
unless you send them the link. I
Yeah.
should have sent it to you.
You should have.
Should have.
That was you know.
Should have.
should've
So
communicated
that's
more.
basically what I had coming out of college with not as much knowledge. Or
Well, you can still
or
send the
talent or
link.
comfort.
I was gonna say that.
You
yeah.
can still send us the link, and we will post
put it on
that
our
way
page.
people can see
Yeah.
where you started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
and
think
where
it's
you got
still
to.
on. It should still be on YouTube.
Okay, then
Yeah.
just unlock that link for us.
Okay.
And also, if you have that video of you cursing on camera, that might be
Oh
out there
yeah,
too.
that.
If that's out there,
if
people
that was
send it to
out
me.
there, they would have been tried to take me down. Luckily, that's not out there.
If you got it, send it to me. So you're out here, you're working. Wait, where's the first location you're working? You were started off in South Carolina.
Columbus, Georgia.
Oh,
and I got
Columbus,
fired.
Georgia.
My news
What?
director told me that this wasn't for me.
Okay, let's talk about that. Why'd you get fired? Did you
What?
curse on camera again?
No. So when you start off, you're doing a lot on your own, a lot of shooting on your
Oh
own.
wait,
We
actually,
call it
I'm sorry.
MMJ.
I'm going to stop you real quick, just because we do this and we're always telling people to get close to the mic, and you were like, "Yo, I know how to project."
Oh, my God,
no,
I'm all
no, no,
leaning
no, 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 no,
back.
no. I don't think you understand.
You're perfect.
You're still
Oh.
the sound is still picking
Yeah.
up.
Oh.
I'm amazed.
Usually, Mike is like, "Hey, tell him to scoot up.
Yeah.
Scoot up on the
When we
mic."
talk to rappers,
Mike,
they
is
be
she
like-
is she
They
good,
be
Mike?
back here like, yeah. So I
Yeah,
grew up
that's
in
the thing.
California.
He's like, he says you
So
could come up a little. But I'm
Oh.
like, I was surprised in the headphones. I'm like, I'm still hearing her clearly,
Yeah.
but she's nowhere close to the mic. And usually when people back off,
Exactly.
and you're like,
Yeah,
yo,
they be
you
like,
sound like a
you know what
whisper.
I'm saying.
So that just goes to show you how loud she is in the studio. Now,
I
go
got
ahead,
a big
continue.
mouth.
I'm loud
Okay.
too, so I feel you.
Okay, let's go. So you got fired
Yeah.
again.
I'll never forget it. Again.
Again.
Yes, exactly. I never gave up.
Okay, so go ahead.
Oh, that
Tell
was
us how
rough.
Why'd
I
you get
entered
fired?
Some depression. So when you start off, you're doing a lot on your own. You're shooting on your own. You're taking a laptop, editing in the field, all that stuff. They call it MMJ. So like
What does MMJ stand for?
multimedia journalist.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool.
So I kind of, a lot of the times when I was in Columbus, Georgia, it would vary back and forth. Like some days you'd have a photographer, some days you wouldn't. The days that you don't, it's obviously quite overwhelming. So I got sent to Auburn one day, Auburn University. What was the story? I don't remember what the story was. But I got sent to Auburn and I forgot my laptop, so I couldn't do any editing. So they had to send someone all the way to Auburn, which was like 45 minutes away from Columbus, Georgia.
Not long.
Right. In that same week, I had covered a story where I missed slot because I couldn't get it edited in time. But really, it was like the editing software that was like kind of screwing up on me. So the producer was like, "Oh, let's just change it to a voice out." Act like she was all good with it. Meanwhile, like later I found out she was like always like trying to complain about like my pace and stuff like that. But to my face would just be like, "Oh yeah, you're fine, girl. We can change it to a VOSOT," acting like she's fine with it, and then going to complain about it. If you don't want it to be a VOSOT is just basically
Voiceover?
yes,
Yeah.
and you just do it live and then throw like one clip from an interview in there. As opposed to writing something full and like having several, tape when you tape something full like a package and you have several, it's like a whole storyline. You have several interview clips and your voiceover.
So she acted like she was cool with it.
Oh, yeah.
But she wasn't.
Oh, she was
And then
dirty.
she
Oh,
called
she
you
was-
in the office. And
She
said,
she was just a producer, so she never called me in the office. But she was going behind my back to complain to the news director, like saying it was blasphemy.
haters.
Yeah, I would say.
And
so.
then they fired you.
Yeah. So those two things
Hey,
happened
oops.
in 1 week, which didn't
that
look
sucks.
good. Yeah, and it really seemed so. When he told me that this, he called me into his office with the GM. They sat me down. They're like, "We're gonna turn to this page in your contract where it says in the 90-day period we can let you go for any reason. We want to let you know that we just don't think this is for you." And I just lost. I was crying so hard I couldn't breathe. Like my
Oh,
car.
in the meeting?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
That's sad, man.
Well, I was like crying, but I mean, not so hard that I couldn't breathe. But when I got in my car, I was crying so hard that I couldn't breathe.
Okay.
And I called an anchor there. Her name is Teresa. And she really helped me because I was like on the highway, like I couldn't see. Like, and she just was like, she told me to pull over. She prayed with me on the phone. And, for me, like, I just couldn't believe, because, coming out of college, I was like, I thought I was, on the road up. Because, I got a lot of people were interested in me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought that I had a good tape in comparison to like, what someone coming out of college should have. I had a professional photographer at one of the local stations come out with me and shoot my stuff. I spent, hours doing stuff. And so for them to, come and tell you like, this isn't for you, like they're essentially telling you, hey, find a new
Find a new path.
career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm And you think when that happens, you're like, shit, I'm not going to get back on air. Like, who's going to want me if I got fired within 1 month from Columbus, Georgia? Like, why? How could I not handle a job in Columbus, Georgia?
Shouts out to Columbus.
Shout out to Columbus. Yeah.
But it set me up for, like, the best move that I could make because 6 months later, I ended up in a top 50 market.
Okay, so where'd you wind up going?
I ended up going to Virginia Beach.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
So
What made you decide? Did you just put feelers out? Did Virginia Beach just reach out to you?
well, so I had to pack up all my stuff and move back home.
You already said shit like 3-4 times, so
It's like her kryptonite.
yeah.
Right. I had to pack up all my stuff and I moved back home to Florida. And, I put all my stuff in storage and then I moved back home to Florida. And I actually got a job at a local station there at CBS 12, but as an editor. So I was behind the scenes. But the
Okay.
theory was like, okay, hey, let me, like, come here, get behind the scenes, pick people's brains,
Yeah.
kind of shoot some stuff, if I can on my free time. And that's exactly what I did. And I was turning 8-hour days into like 15-hour days because I would work my shift editing from 3 a.m. to noon. And then I would go out from like noon to 5 p.m., setting up cameras and just shooting, stand-ups. I was shooting stories also because I was a photographer too. So after the morning show, I would have to go out and, shoot stories. Whatever they wanted me to shoot, I would come back, write packages. They wouldn't use them, but I would just write them and voice them, just to have like for myself and for my tape. And so sometimes I would ask photographers to help me shoot stand-ups. I had a news director there who knew I wanted to be on camera, position came open. They kind of strung me along with it. Did some sort of made it seem like they were interviewing me, but then told me that I needed to work on my writing. And so once the thing is that they wanted me to stay there and complacent in the position that I was on. But I was like, to me, my writing, your writing is never perfect, right? You're always improving your craft.
Absolutely.
So, but you have to improve that craft by continuously doing it, repetition. And so, I had a couple of anchors there who were telling me, like, your writing is well, it's good. It's good enough for this market. Like, you got to get out. Like, they're stringing you along for, they don't like people to move out of their positions, So, I used my tape and I put together another reel with all the stuff that I shot there, and I was just sending stuff out. And my old news director, Tina, who gave me my first shot, which was amazing, she called me, and they had some concerns because that was a top 50 market. Everyone there, that's probably their second or third job. That was coming in technically my first job because, Columbus didn't really count.